Good morning. Thank you for joining the Tax and Finance Show on Spotify Green Room. Today we are joined by Kenner French, CIO of VastHoldingsGroup.com and an executive at VastSolutionsGroup.com. Today we would like to talk about what is an IRA. And thank you for joining us, Kenner.
Woo! Thanks for having me. Yeah, let's talk about an IRA. This is a popular thing right now because people are looking for tax mitigation strategies and also really mainly to, save for retirement. So I'm glad we're here talking about this. And I said we just get going because I think it'll be a big, big thing here in the future, just as it's becoming right now. And okay, let's talk about, what is an IRA? A lot of people are really wondering what it is, and I get it, right? An IRA allows people to save for retirement. That you could be a small-time investor or a big-time investor. It really depends on the circumstances. But really, the government, the nice thing is the government, generally speaking, let's say in a traditional IRA or individual retirement arrangement, it gives you money. The government gives you money to put money away for your own well-being in the future or to retire on. So it's really nice in that regard. So let's say, you could put away, I don't know, depending on the circumstances, let's just say in general, $6,000. You can put away $6,000 and you save whatever the number is. Let's just say, your 33% tax bracket, to be very simple. Well, you save about $2,000. That's not bad, right? It gives you another way to lower your taxes legally. Let's remind everyone legally to save taxes.
Thank you, Kenner. So can you lead us on into what are the requirements of having?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So, for a traditional IRA, you can contribute to a traditional IRA if you have taxable compensation. You have to have taxable compensation no matter what, right? Now, at the same time, you can contribute to what's called a Roth IRA. Just as I mentioned before about the taxation of a traditional IRA, again, individual retirement arrangement, you get money when you do the deferral. In my example, $6,000, let's say it's 33% of it, your tax rate, you save, $2,000. I'm using those general terms, by the way. A Roth IRA, again, a second type or kind of an underneath umbrella of a Roth or of an IRA investment, let's just say. A Roth IRA, it's the opposite. So what happens if you put in $6,000? You have to pay, in my example, $2,000 to the government, no matter what, right? So automatically, you're going to be, in my example, starting with $2,000 less because you've done your taxes. You've already had to pay your taxes. But now, the nice thing with a Roth IRA, the money grows tax-free. And when you pull the money out, I almost said that's when you have to pay the taxes, but that's not true. On a Roth IRA, you do not have to pay taxes when you pull the money out. Versus a traditional IRA, you do have to pay taxes when you pull the money out. So they're really the inverse of one another. Again, the nice thing is, you get a deduction on your contributions now on your traditional IRA, and on your Roth IRA, you pay your taxes now, but it grows tax-free and you pull the money out tax-free, which again is the exact opposite of a traditional IRA. Now for this year, 2021, again, you can put away as much as $6,000 if you're below 50. Now, if you're 50 and older by the end of the year, you can put away another 1,000. So that would equate to $7,000. So again, below 50 years of age, 49 and below, you can put away $6,000. If you're 50 and older, as we talk today, you get to put away $7,000. Now, the key component, which needs to be discussed, if you are in, let's say, a traditional IRA and you're turning age 72, there's a lot of specifics there, but you will be having to do what's called an RMD, required minimum distribution. You have to pull some money out. That's determined by the schedule on the irs.gov website. Anyway, two very intriguing things as it relates to investments, because you get tax favors. If you're doing a traditional IRA, you don't get the same tax favors initially on the Roth IRA, but again, when you pull the money out in a Roth IRA, you don't have to worry about any taxes. So if you've had a security that's had a huge run up in value, a Roth IRA really might make sense. I know some people who are investing in Roth IRAs. in their cryptocurrency assets, they've had a huge run up. I mean, huge run up. The nice thing is they don't have to worry about taxes or the run up because they've already paid their taxes when they put the money in. Again, whatever your tax rate is, usually if it's lower, it's better, by the way. And then when the money grows, if it's in cryptocurrency, as an example, where you're having whatever, some huge rate of return, when you pull the money out, you don't have to worry about taxes. Now, what I would also say, one thing to consider, there's this thing called conversion. Let's say we're in 2021. Let's say your tax liability is relatively low right now, right? And you have a traditional IRA. So what potentially you could do is, do what's called a conversion. So you move the money from the traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. Again, if you're in a low tax bracket this year, let's say, the nice thing is you pay let's say a paltry amount to the government for the taxes, because you're in effect pulling the money out of the traditional IRA. That's really what a conversion is. But now, because let's say you've put the money in now cryptocurrency and it's had a huge run up, when you pull the money out down the road, you don't have to worry about taxes. So you've done two things. One, when you're in a low tax bracket year, let's say 2021, if you've been harmed by the market or you lost your job, tax rate is low. Pay a small or paltry amount of taxes. But when you pull the money out, later down the road, when you have gotten your job back, as an example, your assets have grown exponentially. Your Roth IRA, you don't have to worry about the taxes as a result of doing the conversion. In my example, low tax year, that being in some circumstances 2021.
Thank you, Kenner. So are those the only type of IRAs out?
Yep. Generally speaking, some people, call these things, backdoor Roths. There's all sorts of marketing terms. But as the IRS dictates, and you can even check their website, irs.gov, there's really two types of IRAs. Again, traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. Now, what I would say is you got to be looking out. You really, really should talk to your tax provider, maybe your financial advisor, to make sense of all this, because really on a quarterly basis things could change. It really sometimes makes sense to keep your traditional, not to do the conversion. Sometimes it makes sense to do the conversion. Sometimes it makes sense to put money into a traditional. Sometimes it makes sense to put money into a Roth IRA. It really determines, what I would say is the situation dictates every specific action. And what I would say is really meet with your tax advisor, meet with your, if need be, even your attorney, meet with your financial advisor to see what makes sense. Now, that leads to a bigger point. On a quarterly basis, you should be meeting with all these professional advisors. Sure, sometimes they'll charge you money, but in the end, if you end up saving money as a result of these maneuvers, it could be well worth it for you to meet with your advisor, spend the money, do the right, hopefully I will say, maneuver right strategy for you to save money in taxes to get prepared for retirement.
I think I want to end up with the final question here for your IRAs. Would you recommend, or what are your thoughts of having an IRA versus a savings?
Well, a savings account, if you really think of it, that's a great question. If you really think of it, it's really for short-term strategy. Really, if someone needs money in a kind of a just-in-case fund, if there's an emergency, that's what I would say is construe it as a savings account. What I would say is most savings accounts should be relatively conservatively invested. Number one. Number two, really what you need to think about is using that as a rainy day fund. So I would say is traditionally, IRAs, Roth IRAs, those are investments. Those are kind of for the long term, depending on one's age. Again, going back to my point of it's really important to talk to your tax advisor, really important to talk to your attorney, depending on the circumstances, and really important to talk to your financial advisor to see what you should be doing with your savings account, your Roth IRAs, your traditional IRAs, your 401ks, and other investments as it relates to your future, because no one else is going to take into account your future but you, with the consultation of having a smart advisor on your side.
Thank you, Kenner, and thank you again for joining us today on the Tax and Finance Show. Again, we are here sponsored by VastSolutionsGroup.com. They're the pioneer in tax and retirement strategies for entrepreneurs using artificial intelligence. Again, thank you for joining us today. We hope we see you all again.
Have a great day.